Good evening and welcome to the May 9th meeting of the School Trustees meeting. We will begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and we will start our roll call of members.
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Julie Hollingsworth, District 1.
Jennifer Mathias, District 2.
Maria Norman, Member at Large.
Riley Booker, 4th District.
Noah Smith, 3rd District.
And I'm Ann Duff, Member at Large. To my left is Angela Filler, the Clerk of the Board, and our Superintendent, Dr. Daniel. Good evening. And we have some awards this evening, so we will begin with our IDOE STEM School Certification Award.
It is recommended that the board recognize the staff, students, families, and community of Irwin STEM Magnet School and Whitney Young Early Childhood Center for being awarded the Indiana Department of Education STEM School Certification. The IDOE has awarded STEM school certification to Irwin and Whitney Young for demonstrating a comprehensive STEM-based program, science, technology, engineering, and math for students. The process for applying for the state certification began more than a year and included conducting a self-evaluation, meeting with a STEM specialist to discuss the self-evaluation, providing documentation and artifacts for the essential elements of STEM education, including culture, curriculum, instruction, and partnerships, and developing a Google site showcasing the work. Site visits were conducted at the schools for the final review and evaluation. Applications receiving a minimum score of 65 points were awarded certification. Irwin and Whitney Young achieved a final overall score of 74. Representatives from the school are here this evening. Some of them look familiar, and we ask that you please come forward so we can congratulate you.
Whitney Young or Irwin staff member, please come up so we can get your photo.
Come on all in.
Oh, we're doing separate or together?
Yeah, just do one big photo.
You're supposed to go down. That's all right. Come me right there, scoot on. Can you introduce yourselves real quick?
Sure. I'm Claire Paul.
Claire, please come to
The microphone.
I'm so sorry. I'm using my educator voice. I'm Claire Paul, principal at Whitney Young. Do you want me to go ahead and introduce my staff members who are here? Sure. Allison Brown, instructional coach. Nicole Burt, kindergarten teacher. Casey Bailey, kindergarten teacher. And Bobby Musser, pre-K teacher. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Mary Canary, principal at Irwin, and I'd like to introduce my instructional coach, Allison Nather. And Mr. Dreger's a 5th grade teacher now will be moving into our STEM magnet resource position, so representing our STEM program next year. So,
I know I was lucky enough to be the principal for the day at Irwin with Miss Mary. And she and the other schools, they worked very hard in their preparation to become a STEM certified school. There was a lot of time and effort put into those criteria that they needed to do, and so extra congratulations and all the work that you did to be able to get it to this part. So thank you.
And don't feel obligated to stay. You're welcome to leave. I know you've got lots to
We know
do.
you're busy.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mass exodus.
Okay, Indiana School Boards Association Exemplary Governance Award. Fortin Community Schools, the school board has received the level of commendable as part of the exemplary governance award, the EGA, from the Indiana School Boards Association, ISBA, for demonstrating an outstanding commitment to continuous improvement and professional learning through active participation in training, seminars, and conferences. In order to achieve this impressive accomplishment, the majority of the board's members had to attain EGA Level 1, 75 points or higher, including attending one or more core meetings. And so at the Tuesday, April 19th, Region 3 ISBA meeting, the following were recognized. Raleigh Booker, commendable with 75 points. Jennifer Mathias, commendable with 75 points. Julie Hollingsworth, advanced for 125 points. And Maria Norman, advanced for 125 points. We'd like to take this time to acknowledge our outstanding board members for their dedication to the students and staff of Fort Wayne Community Schools. And as a board, we also received a certificate, I believe, so.
Picture?
Shall we get our picture?
The four of us?
The four of, yes, the four of them. Go down there and get your picture taken.
On the behalf of the other three slackers, thank you. Representative.
And this fall, all 7 of us attended the fall conference. That's the first that since I've been on the board, that every single board member attended, so it was very, very nice.
Ham it up.
All right. So next, we go on to our consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes from our April 25th meeting, vouchers and payroll, and the personnel report. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
Move we approve.
Second.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Dr. Daniels, is there anything on the personnel report you wanted to mention?
Well, we do have one retiree that I believe is on the report. Is Dr. Bush on this report? Well, she's been unbelievable principal for us. Retired, then returned, now is retiring again, but be a very difficult person to fill her shoes.
Yep.
And I just want to again say, we've continued to try to lure her back for a third time.
Third time the charm.
Not been successful at this point, but at least staying connected with us, and maybe she can provide some leadership for us as well and training for other principals. But again, I just want to recognize Dr. Bush.
Awesome. Okay, so we move on to our new business, textbook adoption and rental fees. It is recommended that the board adopt proposed materials for the 2022 to 2028 school year for use in grades K-12 English Language Arts. It is also recommended that the board approve the rental rates for the 2022-23 school year. A textbook adoption committee was facilitated by the curriculum department. Teams of Fort Wayne Community Schools teachers reviewed the instructional materials using a 6-step process. Teacher teams utilized multiple gateway selection tools to gather data concerning real-world application, standards, and usability. This data was used to support the recommendation of textbooks, digital content, and related materials for the adoption. Parents were given an opportunity to view and comment on the adoption material. This was done in person and virtually. Families unable to pay student fees may apply for financial assistance. The state of Indiana reimburses Fort Wayne Community Schools textbook rental fund for a portion of the textbook rental charges for qualified students. The remainder is supplemented from the education fund. There'll be a brief presentation connecting the adoption process to the district goals. Questions will be answered by Julie Skurich and Jamie Shank, curriculum coordinators, and Tricia Keever, textbook rental coordinator. So I guess we'll go ahead and ask if there is a motion on the floor for approval.
I move approval.
Second.
Thank you, Raleigh. Thank you, Maria. All right.
I'm a rookie over here, can you tell?
Hey, you look
They told me
like a
something
pro.
about the green. I think we're good. Yeah. Okay. That might be hard.
Sorry.
Thanks. All right, good evening. First off, just wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity to come and talk a little bit more about the process that we went through. I need to also say thank you to the two ladies behind me, Julie and Jamie. They've been wearing double hats this year and working double duty. So in addition to their regular jobs, they also inherited our ELA positions because they've been unfilled this year. So I wanted to thank them publicly for all of their extra work. And then also Trisha's back there in the back. Trisha has been an incredible asset to me as I came in new right in the middle of this process and getting me caught up with all of the processes that this involves. So I just wanted to thank her as well. So first off, just getting input from multiple stakeholders, obviously critical. When I came in, Jamie and Julie had been doing a lot of work with the Literacy Curriculum Adoption Committee, and I had a lot of questions. I always have a lot of questions, but really trying to better understand Curriculum 2.0. So we kind of hit pause for a second and brought those Curriculum 2.0 writers to the table, and that shifted our conversation. I think before I came, we were looking more as a adoption team around one specific textbook that was going to be everything. And after talking with a lot of the Curriculum 2.0 writers, we really wanted to make sure that we were supporting the work that our teachers had already done. So there's amazing resources, some great units, the scope and sequence that our teachers wrote. So it kind of shifted to what resources can we adopt to best support the work that our teachers have already done. In addition to that, I obviously met with principals, instructional coaches. I think I'm now on building like 43 of my building visits. So this has been a hot topic in every school that I've been visiting. So I've gotten great feedback. And then also, I think we had right around 20 parents or guardian, whether some of you came to the events over at FACE, and then we also had a few that submitted comments online. So right around 20 for the first year. So we'll work to improve that number over the next several years, but definitely a great opportunity for parents and guardians to provide that input.
Remind us, that was the opportunity for the community to show up, review what we're recommending and offering to our students, to make comments or suggestions.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. And that was, I believe, the first time that that kind of event has been held here. But that's something we'll continue doing next year with as we look at numeracy. And we'll work harder to get the word out there to more parents so we can get more involvement in that. My biggest takeaways as I was visiting schools, especially talking with teachers, the three big commitments that I wanted to make were building the love of reading by providing high quality resources. That was paramount in almost every comment that I heard. Incorporating phonics and phonemic awareness. There's a big push from really at the national level, but also at the Department of Education around the science of reading. And that's really diving in on the phonics and phonemic awareness piece. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, that used to be more kindergarten, first, second grade level. But now we're having conversations even with middle school and high school teachers that need to have that skill set. So ensuring that we have those resources. And then finally, just ensuring that our new teachers have the needed curriculum to be successful on day one. I don't know how much you all know about Curriculum 1.0, but it was very scripted, almost day to day, minute by minute. Then we went to 2.0 that was pretty open-ended and almost too open-ended for a new teacher. So trying to find that blend of somewhere in the middle. So some of the work that we are getting ready to do, hopefully after your approval tonight, we'll be meeting with our curriculum writers, really looking at that scope and sequence, making any adjustments just based on what they've experienced this year, and then also looking at those, the new resources that we're adopting. The exemplar units, and I think that's what was most impressive to me out in buildings. We've had grade level teams in buildings build some amazing units. I got to visit Irwin while they were incorporating one of their STEAM units that connected to the literacy curriculum scope and sequence. So we don't want that work to go away. We really want to make that work more prevalent and available to all of our teachers. So we'll be working on that. And then the other big focus this year was on guided reading and reciprocal teaching. So I heard those comments a lot when I was out in the buildings, and we felt like we're really adopting resources that best support that work. So I'm going to stop talking. Jamie and Julie have a couple minutes, and we also have a fun video to share, so hold tight. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you didn't move it for me. So for the elementary literacy adoption, we have recommended that we go with Fontes and Pinnell for many reasons that Joe just mentioned. We have so many variety of books for the kids that they're going to experience between interactive read-alouds, shared reading, reading and writing mini lessons, as well as guided reading libraries, book clubs, and classroom libraries. So we are going to be bringing some of those things back to you at a later date because Title I funding is going to help us pay for those so that we could make sure that the classrooms truly had books in hand. We need to shift so that students are able to put their fingers in the text, open the text. We're also shifting to LLI, which is Leveled Literacy Intervention. You'll see on our video that it has worked great in one of our buildings, and it is an intervention piece to help build that background of reading and build that foundational love of reading as well. That word study piece, as Joe had mentioned, we are looking at the science of reading overall as well. We have some of our buildings integrating Haggerty this year, and they have seen great growth. That is a phonemic awareness piece. Along with our Haggerty manuals, we're going to be providing our teachers with decodable readers, which is another science of reading piece as well. And then we also have Orton Gillingham training, which is a phonics-based program. We do have one piece of it already in our elementaries through Recipe for Reading, but our teachers are going to get a comprehensive understanding of why explicit instruction and hands-on tactile pieces are so important for building that phonics and phonemic awareness foundation.
So Jamie, can I ask a couple quick questions?
Yes,
So you're talking about physical books versus reading on the computer, an iPad or whatever?
correct.
And what's a decodable reader?
A decodable reader is where they use their phonics skills and high-frequency words. So the more familiar that they become with their high-frequency words and their basically like their phonics skills of short A or vowel combinations, they're going to see those words in a text over and over again so that they then also become sight words.
And then we've tried or piloted some of these things already in some of the
Yeah,
schools?
we actually have Mary Canary's building, you're going to see on the video, they purchased guided reading for their building. Bloomingdale has LLI as well as a few other buildings as well. And then we have multiple buildings that are implementing Haggerty this year.
And you're seeing good results and feedback?
Yes.
Can you explain to us what guided reading is? I hear a lot from the elementary school teachers who have been around for a while, who have been proponents of guided reading and like, can we bring it back? Can we bring it back? Can we bring it back and more bring it back? So can you explain to us a little bit more?
Yeah, guided reading is small group instruction for reading. So it's based on the student's level and it's their instructional level, not their independent level. And it's an opportunity for the teachers to be meeting with 4 to 6 students and really honing in on those skills that they need. Running records are a part of that, so it's an informal assessment that teachers can give so they can really notice where the students are making errors in their reading. And then also we're hoping that when the students leave that small group, they are starting to use those strategies in independent reading as well.
Great, thank you.
Are we doing new things?
We are
Have we
doing,
broken the mold, and are we moving in a different direction?
this is different from what we've done before, yes. This adoption is not, it doesn't look like our previous adoptions, which haven't worked. So putting some of these pieces together and making them flow as they should is going to be a great move in the right direction.
And what you said is so important, and that is an admission that we need to do something different. And I appreciate that.
I concur.
So we would like to share a video, and I am so excited. This is not even all of the video. There was so much more content, but you're just going to see the excitement in the kids and the teachers. So I'm excited for you guys to see this video. Today, I am here at Irwin Elementary with some of our top 3rd grade readers. In fact, I have 2 readers that scored a perfect score on iRead 3. So that is super exciting, and we are going to talk to them a little bit about how guided reading has transformed them as readers this year.
So our teachers have been so excited about using the guided reading materials this year. We were very fortunate to be able to start our school year with using those materials for small group instruction. And one of the things as a principal that I have felt from my teachers is just a huge level of gratitude, of really appreciating having a structure of a systematic approach to that small group reading.
Riley, what excites you about reading?
That every time we pick books and we read them, it makes me feel excited. How the story is going to go and plan out. Well, I like the kind of stories that are more interesting. I like interesting stories because they mostly have more detail and show what's going on.
We're seeing an increase in student achievement. But even more than that, our goal this year was to really help develop a love of reading for our students, going beyond the standards, going beyond the foundational skills and the comprehension. Are we instilling them a love of wanting to pick up a book and read on their own?
How do you feel about the progress of your students as we think about implementing guided reading?
This is the most progress I have seen in 19 years of teaching.
That is
from
great.
my students.
That's awesome.
This is the majority of the class is on or above grade level with very, very few below. I would say this has probably been one of our best years in kindergarten.
So with us adopting all the other Fontes and Pinnell materials and getting ready to provide teachers with more materials from Fontes and Pinnell, what excites you about that adoption of resources?
These are honestly the best reading resources I have ever had for small group instruction, and I've been teaching for 20 years. Every book that I've ever gotten with the book series or from our book room, they're okay, but it takes a lot of prep to understand the book. It takes a lot of prep to pull out vocabulary, to pull out background knowledge, and this is all ready for you.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hi.
I have heard some great things are going on here at Bloomingdale during intervention time, and I just want to ask you a couple questions about that. How has the implementation of LLI contributed to student achievement in your building this year?
What I've noticed with my students is the confidence that they're getting. So once they are learning the skills here in the group, they're taking it back into the classroom, and the teachers are commenting to me of, wow, they're participating more, their grades are going up, and I see more smiles. I also see lots of kids going, can we just stay a little bit longer, which tells me something's going right if they want to stay in here and do more reading and writing.
How has working in small group helped you with your reading skills and your writing skills?
It helped me with testing and in class. Helps me with better writing and spelling my words. It helped me understand passages more and writing complete sentences.
I heard you did really well on your iRead test this year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of small group?
Yeah.
You know that student achievement has gone up, but what is the piece that you feel like, or pieces that you feel like really contribute to that?
First, I have to say, with Fontes and Pinnell having the scientifically research-based evidence behind all of the work that they're doing, so all the materials that we're getting is really aligned in how to move our struggling readers to becoming readers. It's very structured, and they have the same routines and procedures every single day, which builds the success right there. It also staggers between their instructional level and their independent, so they never frustrate. So they go from instructional to independent to instructional to independent to keep growing those skills. They love the kids themselves, watching themselves grow. So they can see on the back of the book that they've increased the number of words that they've read in a book. So this week, a big thing was some of the kids read 125 words in a book, and they got over 100. So they see those kinds of things, and they love it, which then excites them to read other books, not just what's happening in LLI.
I'm at Bloomingdale Elementary. We do use LLI to fidelity, and we have found a great benefit in that. The group that you had an opportunity to observe briefly was a group of students who came in with not having all of their letters and definitely not having all of their sounds, and now you can see that not only are they learning to blend and decode, but they can also read full books and write.
I don't know about you guys, but when I see kids talk about how excited they are to read, it just makes me tear up a little. They were so excited to share with us. They were so excited to be movie stars too. So there were great testimonials in that video, but I mean, you could go talk to either of those principals and they could tell you a lot more. So we did want to share with you what each building is going to get. And like I said, a lot of in-hand text, which is very exciting to me as well. So they are going to have 1,200 titles and 7,200 books for their book room through guided reading. 224 titles and 1,344 books for their book room. That includes book clubs. So the students will be able to have discussions about books on their own through a guidance. Also 5 LLI kits, which include the lowest level to the highest level. So as the students are progressing, they have the opportunity to get through all of the levels. So for example, in a second grade classroom also, or any of the classrooms, an example of what they will be receiving is a system guide to guide them through what a day should look like using Fontes and Pinnell, reading mini lessons, writing mini lessons, as well as 120 interactive read-alouds, 30 shared reading opportunity texts, and the kids also have opportunities to touch some of those shared reading texts as well. And then 150 books for classroom libraries. And now I'm going to let Julie talk about secondary.
Before you leave, Jamie, real quick, sorry.
Sure.
Great job with interview skills.
Oh, thank you.
Don't leave us so. How can they, in the guided reading in the small group, how with 23 to 26 kids per classroom, how do elementary teachers get that, 4 to 6 per reading? Talk about how that gets.
That's a great question, Noah. So the rest of the students, we've really worked this year on guided reading and what that looks like in the classrooms. And we've encouraged our students to, or our teachers to do workstations. So that's independent practice of skills, and those could be differentiated. So they're working on skills that they can then do by themselves, or they feel comfortable with, or something that they may need practice with. And so we've been really talking about making that independent time meaningful. We're encouraging our teachers to try to meet with 3 groups per day. So that would be anywhere from, 12 to 18 students a day. So if they have 30 students, some of those students they may not see every day, but we're hoping that they see a majority of their students 3 to 4 times a week.
And these are outside the classroom or within the classroom?
In the classroom.
Okay.
Yep, so the teacher is managing the small group while the other students are working independently on meaningful tasks.
Okay. The other thing I'll say is I'm excited that we're going to Title I for our elementary schools. The district had to move away from interventionists at every elementary school for a period of time, and my oldest daughter was a direct beneficiary of intervention. And I'm just a big believer in, because I saw the results. And I'm proud of her in that there was a lot of pressure as a first grader, I felt like, for her to read, and she's still a lover of reading today. She reads the most out of anybody in our family. So I'm excited about that for the elementary schools and then this LLI to see what that can do.
I have a question too, and it's probably a combo question, but in the video you have a lot of experienced teachers who are easily adapting to what was asked of them. How are we supporting our younger teachers who may not have had any experience of the, if we're coming back with something that's been going on, or however what are we doing for our newer teachers?
Well, we have modules that we've created. Technology, PL, and curriculum got together this year and created modules around guided reading, so we hope to use that with our new teachers as well. But the great thing about Fontes and Pinnell is they come with file folders for each set of books that actually guides a teacher through the lesson, and so then our more experienced teachers can adjust based on what they're seeing in the data. But for those new teachers that don't have that experience, they can kind of flow with the guidance, and then as they start to get more comfortable, adjust.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jamie. For our secondary literacy adoption, the core adoption, which would be our language arts classes in grades 6 through 8, and our grade level English language arts classes, grades 9 to 12, we're proposing to adopt HMH into literature along with writable in the novels. And the really great piece of Into Literature is it offers so many scaffolds and supports, as well as opportunities for differentiation. For each text in the book, there is also a leveled text provided. There's also section summaries and text summaries. There are text sketches that go along with each of them. And one of the pieces we were most excited about was that writable piece. And that writable piece does offer scaffolded writing assignments for students to improve their writing skills, but they have partnered with Into Literature to also offer 4 levels of scaffolding for all of the text-dependent questions in the Into Literature text. So we will be adopting class sets of those books so that students can have those texts in hand, but they'll also be available on the dashboard. And teachers will be able to use that writable platform on the dashboard to provide scaffolded questions and supports for each student, so regardless of their reading level, and as you know, we've got some kids that are reading at an elementary level, they'll still be able to access the content of the text, participate in class discussions, and move towards that grade level competency. Along with the adoption, we are also getting novel points, so we will be able to have probably between 4 and 6 novels per grade level so that kids can have novels in hand as they're working through those along with their teachers. Along with those text in hand, which we are going to be choosing some of the more up-to-date and modern novels for those, we have access to a lot of the older traditional novels online, so kids will have a variety of different texts to be able to access. For our high school AP dual credit and elective ELA courses, we have a slew of different publishers and different titles, and you, I believe, have a list of all of those. And then we are looking at adding a language arts lab and interventions with Read 180 and System 44, along with Waggle at the middle school level, and that will be coming to you later this month because we will not be using textbook funds for those. And the Read 180 System 44 is also through HMH, so it will work very well with our core adoption. The Read 180 is really to help those kids reach a reading proficiency that's closer to grade level. It's targeting kids that are reading at Lexile 600 and above. For those students who are reading below a 600 Lexile level, those are the kids that really need that work on the phonemic awareness and the phonics piece, and that's where System 44 will come in. With our 6th grade group, we are looking to offer that lab to all of our students, but that means we will have kids at and above grade level, which is where the Waggle piece comes in. And Waggle is very similar to a Dreambox concept for ELA. It will allow students to access grade level text and move beyond grade level and help out those kids who need some enrichment and extension beyond where they are. Do you have any questions about the secondary options?
So you've mentioned novels, and
Yes.
a few years ago we switched from reading full novels to excerpts of novels and other things. What does this entail? Is this a full will our kids be able to be reading full novels, or?
Our curriculum writers will be working to choose novels, and our kids will be able to read full novels in class.
Thank you. I have a incoming, so I have one that was in the middle of that, and I fully believe in trying to sustain reading. To be able to sustain reading is reading the whole thing, so I'm excited. That's an exciting thing to hear. Thank you.
Great, I am too.
And you said about 4 to 6 novels per grade level, so can parents go online and see what those are?
We're going to be working with our curriculum writing team this summer to determine which novels those will be. Along with the adoption, we get novel points. And so once we have determined those, they'll be part of the curriculum that parents will be able to check out.
But that was available at the demonstration.
Yes,
that Julie and I attended, that was open to the public, right?
Yes, there was a novel catalog available, and some parents did take those to take a look at.
So they could see everything we had available.
Are there any other questions for any of us?
Joe, you've been to 43 schools?
I think I hit my 43rd today.
Good. Well, I think that's a great practice, and I would hope that your supervisor, whoever he or she is, allows you time in your schedule to continue that. I think people like seeing people from this building in their building.
It's my favorite thing to do. So Jackie, my executive assistant, has been amazing in scheduling it. She thought that I was done after May, but I told her that, no, this is something we're going to keep doing next year.
Hopefully you're never done. Thank you.
The other question I had, and I don't know if you can answer this, is in our write-up, we talked about families that need a financial assistance we can support. About how many families do we have like that? Do you have any sense or knowledge?
I think we have an expert.
That might be a pressure question.
We have about exactly 64.84% of our families are financial assistance.
So roughly 65. So almost 2/3 of our families need financial assistance for textbooks, and the average price is around $100 a year. Is that right, as I recall, give or take?
Yes, in middle school and high school, it's really dependent upon the classes that they choose. Each course has its own charge, but elementary is right around $100.
So Tricia, if the governor had called you last session and said, hey, we're talking about a tax cut, we're talking about, giving money back, $125 per person, potentially, could this have been a way we use that money to help pay for some of these families who have a documented need of assistance to have kids in their textbooks?
Yeah, we actually get money back from the state for those families.
Okay. So the state does support this?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have.
Anybody else? Thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate it.
We gotta vote, right?
We get to vote.
Oh, I know. Great. Okay. We will vote now on our textbook adoption and our rental fees, I believe it was. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Noah, I teach mobile power towers.
It's recommended the board approve the purchase of 680 iTeach mobile power towers from Bloom Machines of Phoenix, Arizona for $187,000. This purchase provides an iTeach mobile power tower for every elementary core subject classroom. They will allow students to stay engaged with their digital activities without necessitating the need to stop and charge their device at a fixed charging station. Each iTeach mobile power tower includes 8 electrical outlets and 8 USB outlets to be used for charging their devices. FWCS was able to secure pricing that's 32% below the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance and CPA contract pricing. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchase made through approved cooperative purchasing entities. Funding will come from Title I and ESSER dollars, ESSER 1 funds, I presume. But Kevin Griebel of Manager of Technology and Jack Bird, Chief Systems Officer, are available for any questions.
Thank you, Noah. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So motion.
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Raleigh. Do we have any questions for Kevin or Jack?
Is this like a Wi-Fi for powering or something, or is it like a, can you describe what this is?
Yeah, so one of the restrictions that we have in the classroom is cart-based charging. So the device has to come out of the student's hands to be charged, so therefore they're left without that electronic instruction. These are mobile power strips, if you want to call them that, on wheels that can be moved around the classroom, which allows that kid to sit in a spot, plug in the charge or the power brick, and charge that device while they maintain instruction.
Are we looking at something like this for middle and high school?
Right now, this focus was Title I money, matching it with some ESSER funds, so we're focused on elementary right now.
I'll tell you, someone who's subbed in middle and high school would be helpful because the seat charts were all goofed up. Oh, I gotta plug it in, man, it's dead. And something like this might avoid that, so. Sure. But this is exciting for elementary schools.
Sounds pretty authentic.
That was very teenage-like. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Julie, Sharp Aquos Interactive Displays.
It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of 627 Sharp Aquos 80-inch 4K interactive displays with mobile carts from Allen Business Machines of Fort Wayne, Indiana for $2,671,020. This purchase provides a cart-mounted Sharp Aquos 80-inch 4K interactive display for all core subject elementary classrooms. The interactive displays provide precise 20-point multi-touch functionality with internet connectivity, creating a responsive and interactive learning experience that promotes collaboration and creativity. Fort Wayne Community Schools was able to secure pricing that is 21% below PEPPM cooperative contract pricing. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made through approved cooperative purchasing entities. Funding will come from Title I and ESSER funds, and Kevin, Manager of Technology, is still, and Jack Bird, Chief Systems Officer, are available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
Move approve.
Second.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Maria. Any questions for Kevin or Jack?
Explain what that is, what the...
Yeah.
I mean, we've used smart boards, I know, at least in secondary for a while. Is this like a next iteration or something of those, or?
Yeah, so the interactive screen will allow the teachers to put the interactive material up on the screen, and then the kids can come up and use their hands and actually interact with that lesson. So if there's any other educational, I'll have to defer to somebody else. I can make the bits go 1 and 0 on the network, but the education, I leave the professionals.
Is anyone using any of these, do we have them in any of our schools right now?
So we have we have a product called a New Line. We've got Brentwood, I believe Lakeside has a few of those. It's the same concept where it's an interactive screen that's attached to a computer. One of the next proposals coming in front of you is that computer that will power the Sharp Aquas. So with that, the teacher can maintain their device to further plan, to do grading, to have the smaller group lessons while other kids are interactive on the screen.
So how will they learn to use this? Is there any training, or is it user-friendly? They'll figure it out?
It is somewhat straightforward, but there is going to be some PL through the summer. And at our technology conference, Ignited, in July, we're having some breakout sessions for that, where we're bringing the vendor in. They'll have a vendor table there to demo it. And then our district technology coordinators will be working with teachers and instructional coaches and stuff.
Any other questions?
So, I know you're the tech person, but anyone from education be able to understand how many of our lessons are tied to this board, or how often we'll be using it? Or, I mean, is it just various different lessons in our I see it says in our core studies, but I mean, is it?
So they can use it for just about anything, like they would their computer. So they can bring up their LMS, they can bring up any websites that they want to show. There's additionally, you can have interactive maps, you can have, there's a lot of interactivity that comes with these, and the Milk computer that attaches to the back just expands that. So they can use it as a projection device, they can use it however they need to use it in their classroom. So it's a multi-function
Okay,
screen.
so that I understand this, these are just the boards, but we have something else where we actually have to have the actual computer that hooks to it to make it
Yes, that's
work?
the next item on the agenda.
So who has actually used these? Who got to try them out in the process of the decision making?
So we've used these at some of our middle schools like Memorial Park. We've used them at Brentwood Elementary. The New Line monitors have been in place there. So that's where we've tried some of them out. There have been others throughout, but due to the expense, we had to be very frugal with how we rolled them out. But now with this opportunity, it's like this is a part of a bigger vision that we have in the district as far as creating a mobile interactive classroom.
When will they arrive? Will they arrive summer for teachers to be able to, take some time to get used to them? learn?
Yeah, so we've been told that they're in the local supply chains. So we verified that before we went forward with the funding and the purchase. We're looking for summer delivery, and we're working with Allen Business Machines to actually do some assembly in the schools. So that will be coming into the schools, what we hope, pretty quickly. And then with the training and some time during the summer, they'll be available.
So have any of you actually used this particular, I know you mentioned the other ones are New Line and these are Sharp. Have you any of it? I mean, is the computer that we're purchasing that goes on the back the same as, or does that go along with just this brand?
No, the computer can be used on both the New Line and the Atlas.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Kevin and Jack. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now I think we're up for the computers. Intel NUC computers, Maria.
It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of 640 Intel NUC computers from Simply NUC of Round Rock, Texas for $444,928. This purchase provides an Intel NUC computer for every Sharp Aqueous interactive displays that are being purchased for core subject elementary classrooms. These computers provide the interactive displays with internet connectivity and software applications. They also eliminate the need for teachers to connect their devices to the interactive displays, thereby allowing them to use their device for other activities. FWCS was able to secure pricing that is 28% below PEPPM cooperative contract pricing. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made through approved cooperative purchasing entities, and the funding will come from Title I and ESSER funds. And Kevin and Jack are still here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
I move for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Noah. And any questions about the computers?
So you've got 13 extra laptops over the screens?
So
And 26 additional, what's the next one?
Yeah, so the difference in the
Speakers.
quantities is some of the technologies are already in the classrooms. So we don't have to replace that or add that. So there is a total number of classrooms that's being impacted by this project, or these projects. But we have some of the technologies in place already, so we don't need to purchase them.
Okay.
And Steve, additionally, the 13 that you see there, since Brentwood already has New Line monitors, we decided to keep the brand consistent at Brentwood. So the 13 are for the 13 Brentwood monitors, but that did not need to have.
Okay. Got it, thanks.
So every elementary teacher's getting a new computer next year?
The computer will be dedicated to the display, but yes, that will be under classroom mounted physically on the back of the display.
And it's, I presume, like a laptop where they can take in and out of the classroom and...
No, it's going to be a physical computer mounted on the back of the screen, so that it'll move with the screen inside the mobile classroom.
Okay, now I'm lost. So you got an 80-inch screen and a computer behind it?
Yep.
And you just move it around?
Yeah, so the computer itself is about 6 inches by 6 inches by maybe 3 inches thick. And it physically just mounts to the back of the display. And they'll be provided a wireless keyboard and mouse so that they don't have to use anything in their classroom to log into or to load material or anything like that.
So they have this in addition to a laptop?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So how, what is the optimal, if we were having PL for these teachers and they're using this, because it sounds like a really great piece of equipment, the ones that are using it at Brentwood already, what was the learning curve for this piece of equipment? I mean, it ties in with the rest of their, but it obviously does much more than just their computers
It's just like them using a computer, only they don't have to use their computer now. They have another computer that they can use with the display, so they can use their computer for other things. It's basically a computer that they can use just like they did their laptop. So they can use it here again for lessons, for any supporting material that they have, any interactivity, any websites they want to show. They can now use this on a large screen that's interactive. So if a website has interactivity on it, kids can go up and manipulate the website on the screen.
Okay, and prior to that, the teacher would just be using their laptop, the kids would have their laptops, and no one would be able to see what anybody else is doing?
Well, we have projectors in the classroom, but those projectors are non-interactive.
Okay, so basically what you're telling me is these are strictly to upgrade to interactive boards that the kids can be working on. That's the premise of all these.
Kids and teachers.
Okay.
And then will they be able to type things on their laptop, then show up on the screen, or just through this simply UC computer?
One of the things that we're looking at is that they will still have a projector that kids could project on, but then also on these interactive monitors, there is a piece of software that we'll be purchasing that allows connectivity of other devices as well that would behave very similar to them connecting to their projectors.
This new year sounds like a good reason to visit some of our elementary schools next year.
So I can just say from a standpoint of a huge push in the Chicago area for this type of technology, smart classrooms is what they would classify it as. So you're going to see some other things coming in the future too, i.e. classroom that's very similar to what's at Irwin and their STEAM, which facilitates small group work. Here's another tool that now you can use in small groups, very visible, it's interactive, so hands-on for the kids. So this is definitely, you're seeing a trend, and as I say, I like to say these are smart classrooms, and I think we're going to find our teachers are going to love this type of technology because they're already being provided with the resources as you just seen with Fontes Pinnell and all those support systems. So another level of engagement, another level of how the students connect with what's happening, but it's also mobile.
Yeah.
So you can flow this around the classroom. It's not sitting on a board and that's the only place. No, it can be mobile. So it'll be interesting to see how our teachers utilize this. I'll also say smart boards, they tend to be used more as whiteboards instead of smart boards. So again, the PL associated with this, I think is going to be important. So we did visit classrooms last year where we saw this technology being used, and it was, the kids were directing the lesson. It was, and the teacher was facilitating. It was a wonderful thing to see, and I want to say the engagement level, it was off the chart. So if we can move this into the majority of our classrooms, and again, you've heard it in all the elementary classrooms, a once-in-a-lifetime funding that has enabled us to do this, part of what the whole pandemic created, the ESSER, but also the use of Title I funds, that if we don't use by September 30th, we turn it back to the feds, and we're not. This is why once in a lifetime. But I also thought, and this is coming in the future, you're also going to see a furniture order that will be substantial. But again, it's upgrading our learning environment in each of our classrooms. So, knock on wood. Let's see this thing work in action, and we'll have Joe go to visit these classrooms.
Did you say they'll be all right with their fingers on these boards, or is there a stylus, or?
There is a stylus.
Does that come with it, or do we have to purchase that separately?
I think it comes with.
Yeah, I believe it comes with it, but they'll also be able to use their fingertips.
Anything else?
The future.
I guess. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And our Top Cat hybrid speaker system, Raleigh.
It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of 653 Top Cat hybrid speaker systems from Lightspeed Technologies, Inc. of Tualatin, Oregon for $780,335. This purchase provides a Top Cat hybrid speaker system for every elementary core subject classroom. The system delivers superior audio quality of voice and multimedia in an all-in-one easy design. Included in this purchase is a wireless microphone that can enhance the speaking voice within the classroom. FWCS was able to secure pricing that is 23% below PEPPM cooperative contract pricing. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made through approved cooperative purchasing entities. Funding will come from Title I and ESSER. Kevin and Jack are here to answer questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Raleigh. And any more questions?
Yeah, I guess I'll keep it going. Remind us what PEPPM stands for, I guess, after the third time, huh?
So that stands for the Pennsylvania Education Purchasing Program for Microcomputers. That's what it was originally named. Over the years, it has evolved into an electronics purchasing cooperative. That's my knowledge. If you need further definition, I'll have to defer to Rod Rathke.
And he's not here today, so we'll take it at that.
Anything else?
So these speakers then attach to the system.
So these speakers here will actually be mounted in the ceiling,
Okay.
and they will be physically connected to the projector. Because right now we have no way of providing amplified audio from the projector in the classrooms. With these audio systems as well, there's a wireless mic that will be on a lanyard that the teachers can wear that will be able to amplify their voice in the classroom, which brings attention to students, or if we have a soft-spoken teacher, we'll amplify that voice.
So they're wireless speakers, right? Or no?
The wireless video signal will be made to the projector, and then across that wireless video audio signal is the audio component of that, and then we're physically connecting from the projector to the speaker to amplify that audio. So I hope I answered that correctly.
I think
for
so.
you.
I think I understood that. Anything else? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? And lastly, Medicaid reimbursement services, Jennifer?
Sorry. It is recommended that the board approve a 3-year renewal contract with Frontline Education from Malvern, PA to provide Medicaid reimbursement services effective June 1, 2022 through May 31st, 2025. Eligible health-related services include speech, language therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, social work, and individual psychological evaluations for special education students, as well as transportation services to access these services. Reimbursed funds will support special education expenditures that would otherwise be paid from the education fund. Frontline Education provides a web-based solution for inputting data for eligible services. Their fee is based on a flat rate of 2.5% of reimbursed claims for all 3 years of the contract and annual software license subscription fees of $26,125 for 1 year, $27,300 for year 2, and $28,529 for year 3. Nikki Sprunger, Assistant Superintendent of Diverse Learners, will be available to answer our questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Noah. And do we have any questions for Nikki? She's ready to go.
They get a lot of money for us?
We get around $800,000 to $900,000 a year.
And is this company that we currently use now?
Yes, it was formerly a Cellify, but Frontline bought them out. It's same company, same good service, same system.
Okay. Great.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Nikki. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that ends the business portion of our meeting. We now have a presentation on diverse learners. Dr. Nikki Sprunger, Assistant Superintendent of Diverse Learners, and Emily Swartz-Kearns, Director of English Language Learners, will provide an overview of the Department of Diverse Learners at Fortin Community Schools. Diverse Learners oversees the Department of Special Education and the Department of English Language Learners.
Good evening. Thank you, President Duff, esteemed members of the board, Dr. Daniel, and Mrs. Filler. We are very pleased to bring you a presentation tonight on the diverse learners, which consist of special education and English language learners. Before I turn it over to Mrs. Swartz-Kern to introduce and show the video, I do want to mention that our video was student-made by Foster Kearns. He is a student at Wayne High School, and he is at the Career Academy in the Radio and Television Production Company. So we were very pleased to have that partnership. So Emily?
We'll begin with our short video so you can see some of our students and staff in action. And I just wanted to preface it with that we know we have many wonderful ELL teachers, special ed teachers, assistants, other staff all out in our schools. This video does not highlight all of them. We're trying to highlight some of our other support staff so you can see some of the many other things that our special education and ELL programs do in addition to instructing students every day.
I service students who have communication disorders that are impacting them academically and functionally. I service students by doing speech and language screenings. Those are for students who have parents or teachers with concerns. And then I get to serve on the team of evaluators whenever a student is going through an evaluation. And I work closely with our occupational therapists, our school psychologists, and also our special ed teachers. And then I also get to treat these students once they're identified with both speech and language impairments.
We help families that come from all over the world to foreign community schools that cannot speak English by providing different resources such as interpreters on case conferences, parent-teacher conferences, speech evaluations, initial intakes that families take or the students take when they first come to the schools. Also, we provide translations for a lot of documents that we receive from international high schools and that we translate for teachers so they can see where they're at and what grade they belong to.
So in occupational therapy, we do a lot of work on independence and learning, helping kids be successful in the classroom with independent skills when they're younger, such as feeding or putting their coat on. And then as they get older, we do a lot of work on the fine motor and visual motor skills needed for reading and writing. So we really like to support those foundational skills that kids need.
I work with Catholic Charities to help enroll newly arrived refugee students, and I also do placement testing for newly arrived students in the school district who have another language on their paper.
Well, first and foremost, a school psychologist is an advocate for the child. And we work with the child to make connections, to gather information and their perspective, to get their story, to determine some of the needs that they may have and how to help them with that. And we also try to help preserve their dignity through the process and through the solutions. And we help support the child too by working with the schools and the parents. We also analyze data. We analyze a lot of data, and we collaborate with teachers and administrators in how to use that data and come up with creative solutions based on that data. We help with parents by involving them and making sure that we get their perspective and their information on their student.
I love the relationship I get to build with these students. Oftentimes I'm seeing them in small groups or one-on-one. I get to see them do skills that are hard for them and things that are new to them. And I just feel like there's nothing more rewarding than being the one to help support them and meet these goals.
I love being able to provide resources to those families and being able to let the parents know how their kids are doing throughout the school year, and being able to also help the staff and mostly teachers to be able to communicate with the parents.
I love being able to support the kids and making learning fun for them and giving strategies that make them successful in the classroom.
I love that it encompasses everything that my background has led me here. My heart has always been with ELL and English language learners, and this is the perfect job where we get to be ambassadors to the students when they come here. We are with the refugee families, we're the first people that they meet in the school system, and so we'd like to make that transition for them as easy as possible. There's a lot of other factors that have led them to come here, and so we want to make sure that we are as welcoming and as helpful as possible with them and Catholic Charities as partners and making sure that their needs are met.
What I love about my job, that one's easy. I love working with the kids. I have the luxury of working one-on-one with the child and finding their stories and helping them thrive.
Okay. Tonight, Emily and I will share the mission of our departments, personnel, statistics, and highlights. Special education. And I also just want to give a moment to thank, I have my administrative staff sitting out there, most of them. One could not be here tonight, so thank you, ladies.
Could you introduce them?
I sure will. Maren Hupe, Pamela Richards, Michelle Hoffaker, Jen Burney, Rian Fertil, and her one-to-one aide, her daughter Adeline, Mary Kay Mushgani, and manager Angela Newberry. Thank you. Okay, our mission is Fort Wayne Community Schools staff commits that all students with exceptionalities will be educated to high standards. Special education and general education personnel work collaboratively to provide evidence-based services designed to ensure equitable access to general curriculum while meeting the individual needs in a manner that maximizes opportunities to engage and learn with age-appropriate peers. This is the special education department. And within this department, we house psychological services, of course, my administrative staff, physical and occupational therapy, 3 case managers, a network technician that provides and will evaluate for assistive technology. We have instructional support facilitators. Those are district teachers. We have 5 for our mild intervention teachers. We have deaf and hard of hearing teachers, blind low vision teachers, adaptive PE teachers, emotional disabilities teachers, ISFs for pre-K, and our speech language therapist. We also have an audiologist. We have interpreters. They float, they go in and sub in our schools and support our deaf and hard of hearing program. We have a VI assistant that will braille for our students with blind low vision, and we also have our team for our non-public school.
As I recall, you worked at a couple of districts, right, before here?
Yes.
Have you seen a district with this much diversity of staff and offering of services?
That I have worked in? No. This, yes. All schools have to offer this, but the diversity, no. These are all mandates by the federal government down to schools.
So every school has to offer that.
Yes.
I guess, have you seen one with the breadth and depth?
Of ours,
no. I can't imagine a rural school.
No,
with,
we are the largest
300
school.
students can
Now,
offer
I will say my previous district had a larger deaf and hard of hearing population than what we have. So just some overall statistics. So we serve 4,896 students in our public schools. We serve an additional 596 students in non-public, and that's in 35 buildings. The largest disability area is specific learning disability, next to our language and speech impairment, other health impaired, low incident disabilities, which are students with autism, emotional disabilities, blind, low vision, deaf and hard of hearing, traumatic brain injury would be a low incident disability. Then you can see our intellectual disability, which is our mild, moderate, and severe students. And then last is developmental delay. We're proud of the many community partnerships that we have. I'm going to name a few. Sodexo, AWS, Head Start, InSource, Indiana Resource Center for Autism, Parkview Behavioral Health, Turnstone, Peg Perigo, Community Harvest Bank, St. Vincent's Warehouse, Easter Seals Ark, Fort Wayne Zoo, and Autism Society of Indiana. We have growing numbers in our pre-K. This has been an area that we have focused on. When I started here 5 years ago, we had 288 students in pre-K. We now have 375. We start serving students with disabilities at age 3. 86% of our special education students are in the general education classroom for more than 80% of their instructional day. So they are with their typical peers. We have an 85.1% graduation rate for students with disabilities. The state target is 83.88, so we are doing quite well. Now I'm going to turn it over to Emma.
Can I go back a minute? Can you go back? Yeah, one more. Tell me about the non-public. What do we do? I don't understand how that all works.
Okay, so every year in July, that's a good question because that is often misunderstood. We have to enter into an agreement with them. How are we going to spend the proportionate share of monies that we receive for them? So the agreement is we provide consultation services to their school. We provide consultation in deaf and hard of hearing, blind, low vision. We offer direct speech language services for one time a week, and we also offer direct OT, and we offer consultation physical therapy. And then every year we have to meet with them and review and just check in that that's how they want to continue.
So I'm a private school that has a student with a disability.
Mm-hmm.
They call us up and say, hey, I got a student with a disability.
Mm-hmm.
We send somebody out there.
Then we go out and develop
them
what is
assess
called
the
an
need.
ISP.
Assess the need,
Mhm.
say this is the services we can offer and the supports we can
Right.
give. And then work through the school year with them off and on?
Mhm,
Or
just-
is
mhm.
it every day, once a week?
No,
once a month?
we, for most of our students, it is a consultation quarterly.
So they're doing the lifting during the day, most every day,
Mhm.
and then we're there to backstop
Right, we're
them and
there to
support them.
consult, yes.
Okay. And there's
500
35 different
Mhm.
private schools or
Mhm.
institutions we're working with on
Mhm.
that? And then I saw in the video we had a school psychologist.
Mhm.
How many of those do we have?
Right now, we have 14.
Is it all like elementary or spread
Oh,
throughout
no,
elementary, high, middle?
it's
or-
pre-K through high school, and then I have 2 for my non-public.
Okay. And I saw occupational therapists. How many
Mhm.
of those do we have?
10.
And spread throughout again, different school
Yes,
levels?
spread throughout the district, and then 1 for non-public.
Okay. Do we have more need for those, or means that
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good right now.
was she a speech therapist?
Yes.
So, how many of those?
34.
Okay.
And anybody who wants to apply, we would be very happy for that.
That we have a need, huh?
We have a need. We've done a good job recruiting, but there's always a need. People move in the middle of summer, so
These are college degrees, I take it, and.
And masters.
Yeah, okay.
And masters. They have to hold 2 licenses. They have to have their IDOE license and a license with the Professional Board of Licensing.
And that's for speech therapy or for each of those?
No, just for speech therapist. Plus, they have to have their Cs from ASHA.
And I see you had an opening for an audiologist?
Yes.
Is that
Right
new?
now, Nancy Lewis fills in for us one day a week.
And so that one audiologist covers all of our schools and the non-pub?
No, just public. Audiology is not in our agreement with non-public. So Noah, back to your question, we serve 639 students for occupational therapy and another 109 for physical therapy.
Thank you.
And can you explain how the funding works for that, pubs versus non-pubs?
So when we get our federal grant, we turn in, there are 2 big counts every year. December 1 count, which determines your funding, and then the April 1 count. So in December 1, we turn in to the state all of our students, and that includes non-public. And then they use a formula, and once we get our grant, once they give me the allocations, which hopefully will be soon, they'll tell me how much I have to spend on non-public based on the numbers we turned in December. And then APC money, which is the state money, we will get that, we take that December 1 count and we look at all the students that they turned in, see who's speech, who's pre-K, and there are some different funding levels, and we fill all that out. We turn it into Kathy's office, and we know that's the money we'll get from the state for non-public.
Is it, back to the non-pub, sorry, Maria, is it in the city of Fort Wayne, the county of Allen? I mean, where's the line where that's drawn?
It is within our district. So
Okay.
any non-public school that's within the Fort Wayne Community School District. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
And do we ever go over the amount that is awarded to us?
Yes. And that's when we start using the APC money. So we use our federal grant first, and then we can go into the APC money.
Thanks.
We're working off each other. So do you know about how much you get per student with a disability?
For what, so
Is it-
there's different, so for a student with a severe disability, we're going to get $9,300.
From the feds? Or from
No,
the
this is from the state.
Okay.
And then the second level, it's 2,700, I want to say. Preschool is 3,800, and then speech is 500.
And this is over and above foundation and complexity?
And the federal grant is formulaic, and that is determined down at the state. That looks at your SES factors, free and reduced lunch, and they
Rocket
work
science.
they work their magic. Right, Julie? And they look at our count from 1992, so it's a very intense formula. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Emily.
All right, moving along to our English Language Learners Program. We were happy to become part of the Diverse Learners family this school year when we came under that umbrella. And it really is a good fit because both programs are compliance programs to support our students with diverse needs. I'm
Not that
making new
word.
words. All right, our mission for the ELL program stated rather formally here is the Fort Wayne Community Schools English Language Learner Program supports multilingual students in attaining English language proficiency in listening, speaking, reading, and writing so that they can become independent learners and achieve academic success. So this is a snapshot of our central office ELL support. As I mentioned, we have many ELL teachers and assistants out in the schools, but from central offices, we have 3 instructional coaches who support our ELL teachers and other teachers around ELL issues. We have 2 ELL resource teachers, one of whom was on the video, who does a lot of our assessment. We have a data trainer who helps with our data support. And then we have our language services department, which is the interpreters and translators. So we have staff interpreters for Spanish and Burmese, and then we have a whole lot of other as-needed temporary interpreters that we can call on for other languages.
How many of those would you say we have?
I think we have over 80 on our list, and then we also work with outside agencies for phone interpreting and some written translation. So some of our statistics for ELL, about 20% of our Fort Wayne Community School students speak a language in addition to English. So they may have English spoken in their home, and some of those students are completely proficient in English already. About 3,500 students are currently part of the ELL program. It's about 13% of our population. That number and percentage continues to grow each year. The ELL population is growing faster than the general population in our district. ELL students attend every single one of our schools, ranging from 6 to 205 students, depending on the school. And we now support students in every school. When I first came into this program, we had certain schools that were designated ELL sites. We would consolidate the students to those sites. But now I think it's a great improvement that we follow the students with the services so they can attend any school, any program that they would otherwise. And then we also support about 600 ELL students in 23 non-public schools through Title III. Support for ELL students in non-public schools is more limited than it is with special education. It is only through our Title III funding, and that's last year our allocation for that was $116 per student. So it's not ongoing support. It's maybe some materials, maybe some technology, some professional development for staff members in those schools.
So the staff under you that you showed, that we're not getting funding for that.
That's
specifically.
Well, yeah, that's part of some of it comes from our education fund. Some of it does come from grant funding, like the non-English speaking program state funding, the Title III federal funding that I bring to you at the beginning of each school year. So it's a combination.
So about $116 you said?
That's the Title III specifically.
How much is the other one from the state?
The NESP is about $400 per student. So they're both really supplemental. They don't fund everything that we do.
So they're not paying for your staff nor any of our ELL teachers. That's all coming out of the education fund.
They do. Title III does pay for our 3 ELL coaches, their supplemental support. The NESP state funding pays for interpreters, the data trainer, the resource teachers, and 6 of our building-based ELL teachers. And that's 6 of about 80-some.
So it certainly doesn't cover our need.
No, it does not cover all, but it helps with some. But yes, we are required to do a lot more than we are fully funded
And it's
for.
required by the state or federal? Or
Both. We have guidelines under both.
And sorry, I keep belaboring this, but then do the state, so you mentioned Title III, which is Fed, and what was the other one, which is state?
A non-English speaking program, or NESP, is state funding.
Does that come through for the non-pubs as well?
No, that one does not apply to the non-publics,
just the
just the
Title
Title III.
So we get the $115 or whatever, and we're happy to give it out to those 23 schools, 600 kids, and here's your pamphlet workbook you can work off of?
Well, I consult with them each year on how they're going to use their money to support their students, and then they recommend items they'd like to purchase or training for their teachers. And so I will consult with them throughout the year. Once in a while, I'll refer them to one of our ELL coaches or other support, but they don't have direct teacher support or therapists or...
But your time nor any of our other staff's time that we spend with them isn't reimbursed?
Correct.
Gotcha, thank you.
So along with that, Nikki and Emily, if public schools weren't here, what would those schools do for their supports?
They would be more limited.
Good answer.
And like I said, the Title III funding is not a huge amount of money, and the non-pubs for ELL are not bound to all of the same requirements we are. But if they're accepting any federal funds, they do have certain elements of the program they have to adhere to. Do you want to?
That's well said.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, Emily?
Yes.
Do ELL students, when they eventually advance out of the program, so there might be high school students who previously were ELL but are not considered in the program anymore?
Correct. So when you look at the purple and blue pie chart there, we have more students currently in ELL at the elementary level, partly because there are
Right.
more elementary students, but a lot of our students who are here with us do exit out of the program.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're at Fairfield today, Raleigh and I, and they just got 3 Afghan students. So these would be kind of the program, right? But
Yes.
if they came at high school age, they would also be in the program. but-
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
All right, so some of the most asked for statistics in the ELL program are, what are our top languages? So on the left, you see the most common languages in addition to English in Fort Wayne Community Schools are Spanish, Burmese, Karen, Chin, Arabic, Bosnian, Mon, Vietnamese, Swahili, and Mandarin. And the Burmese, Karen, Chin, and Mon languages all come from Burma or Myanmar. They're different groups within that population. And then on the right, these are the top countries of birth other than the United States of our students. So in order, they are Guatemala, Thailand, Mexico, Malaysia, Myanmar or Burma, Honduras, and El Salvador. And you may wonder why the languages in the countries don't necessarily match up, but it's because over half of our ELL population is born in the United States. So they're learning English, but they're not included in that right-hand chart of being born in another country. So we have a lot of students who have a Mexican background, but they were born in the United States, and that's one reason Mexico's not the top country. And then Thailand and Malaysia are countries where there are refugee camps where a lot of our Burmese students were born in refugee camps in those countries. So they may speak Burmese or Karen, but they were born in Thailand.
So the assumption is that they're born in the United States or Thailand, but they're raised in an environment where they only speak Spanish or Burmese or whatever, and by the time we get them as kindergarten or first grade or pre-K, they have little to no English
Right, they have varying levels. And
exposure.
we assess all students who have another language in their home or in their background, so they may come to us with very little English or be close to proficient, but just need some extra support, so we determine that level. So some of our highlights. As you mentioned, Julie, every year we have students who exit the ELL program, and that's our goal. We love them, but we want to move them out of our program. We know they are tremendously successful once they exit ELL. And if you look at our passing rates for state assessments, standardized assessments, students who have exited ELL outperform district averages on just about every assessment. And they're among our top graduates, scholarship winners, leaders, athletes, and performers every year. It's just amazing to see what some of our students can do. And then they have a bonus language in their background too. Not only do they become proficient in English, but many retain high proficiency in their native language. And we're now able to recognize that through the Certificate of Multilingual Proficiency. Students who are native English speakers or native speakers of other languages can earn this upon graduation for displaying proficiency in more than one language. And this year, for the first time, we're going to recognize that with graduation cords for those senior graduates. So it's a great thing. And then Fort Wayne Community Schools was awarded the very first Title III Indiana Distinguished School District Award in 2018. They've been awarding that annually, but we got the very first one. So we're very proud of the work we've done. Yeah, and with a thank you for our video from Foster Kearns, who I'm very proud of, who is a Fort Wayne Community Schools Career Academy and Wayne New Tech student who filmed and edited our video. Kathy Wise, his teacher there for the video production program. We filmed at Abbott and Holland Elementaries, and those schools were extremely welcoming. And we had other staff members who contributed photos and videos. We're all part of that video.
Tell Foster he did a wonderful job.
Thank you. He's off playing baseball tonight, so I hope he's doing well at that too.
What's your ideal ELL teacher look like? I mean, I hear ELL and I think, oh boy, you gotta know Spanish or Chin or Burn, whatever, but then I meet or know some friends that are like ELL teachers. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot, like how could I be an ELL teacher? I don't speak a language other than English. And even if you spoke one language other than English, you wouldn't speak all the languages of your students. So the ideal ELL teacher just a good instructor. We've had wonderful teachers who come from a classroom teacher background who just know how to teach, and they know how to reach different kinds of learners, and we can help with the ELL methods. And they just have to be conscious of cultures and languages and those aspects of reaching all our students. So no, they don't have to speak other languages. If they've ever studied another language themselves, that helps give them that empathy of learning another language.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
We have a funny little story to go along with it. Noah probably tells it better, but there is a student at Snyder who is Hispanic, so that's his first language, and
He's Mexican.
all
Nationality.
okay. He took all AP classes, like from any one of their
year.
top students. You tell it. Go ahead.
Well, he took AP classes, all AP classes his sophomore year on. He's a senior this year at Snyder. And I met him last year as a junior, and he was talking about that. And I said, how'd you do? And he says, well, I did pretty good. I got 5s on every one but one. I got a 4. A 4? Well, what one was that? Well, it was on Spanish. I said, is your last name Hernandez? Didn't you say your parents were originally from Mexico? He says, yeah, I can speak it, but I can't read it very well. So he's one of our bright, he's a great kid, though, so he'll do well.
But he is, I believe he started as an ELL learner,
Yeah, I
is
think
what he was
so.
telling us. So now he's one of the top students, and he's
4th in
performing.
his class.
Right, 4th in his class and performing on the AP. So you do a tremendous job of what you're doing. So thank you very much.
Very proud of the students. They are hard workers, and we have wonderful staff out there supporting them.
Awesome. Great.
And I will tell you that the valedictorian at Northside High School this year will be a young woman who came to our school district who did not speak one word of English, but Mireya Monteroso, grade point average of 4.6, number 1 in her class. And more of our top 50 graduates from our 5 high schools probably speak a different language in their household. So thanks to you and what you do to support our students.
Thank you.
Thanks, both of you.
Okay, we are ready for member comments, I guess.
Sure. Just found out this morning that Fort Wayne native Michael Oberholzer, an actor, has been nominated for a Tony. He is in the play Take Me Out. He plays, my wife and I saw the play a couple of weeks ago. He plays this ball player, relief pitcher, Shane Mungett, a redneck relief pitcher who comes up from their AA club in Tennessee and causes a little friction on the team. I won't go into the storyline, but Mike is not a graduate of our district, but his parents do live in the 5th district. Mike went to Bishop Lohr's and played baseball at Foster Park with a couple of my boys and coached Wildcat baseball with my son Howard. But he had a wonderful teacher behind him. Carlene Krause, who was still at Bishop Lohr's, was the teacher that I think really inspired Mike, and I thought it would be fitting, though not a public school graduate, a native of our city and doing quite well. Mike Oberholzer.
Where did you see the play?
Broadway.
Cool.
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks ago, and I had a chance to say hi to him afterwards, and nice man, nice young man.
I don't have anything, thanks.
Quickly, last week was a teacher appreciation, but I want to shout out to all those parents as well, because I know that there were many parents at many of our schools who stepped up and supported our staff and our teachers and our employees, and Maria was one of those who was an organizer. But as many of us have been in the past, I know that there's a lot that goes into that to support our teachers, so I just wanted to shout out to those parents who who have done that and remain engaged, and I hope you continue to remain engaged, but, and then thank you to our teachers, as I often say, but I just think that it's also important to support our parents who are supporting our kids, who are trying to support our teachers and our students to get through the end of this year, and there's just a few more days left, so I know you guys can do it. So thank you.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. And it's always my pleasure to love on our staffs. They do such a good job. So it was a lot of fun, and it was, I thought it was very well organized. I do say so myself. But yes, thank you. There were lots of donations and events and lots of coordination. So, but it was really great, and I think that the staff members in the building really enjoyed it. So I just wanted to say congratulations to our board. I've been on the board now for a handful of years, and this is the first time that we've ever received that award from the ISBA for attending trainings and workshops. And so when I first started on the board, I wasn't 100% sure what I was doing. So I was really appreciative to the Indiana School Boards Association for always holding trainings and workshops and events to help school board members become better school board members and understand the jobs that we're doing, and to become better advocates for our school districts. So it was nice to be honored, because a lot of people don't see that we attend a lot of things outside of this meeting. And so we're definitely here for the love of what we do. And it was nice to be I have a pin, and I wore it to school board meeting because where else would I wear it? So, so yeah, I just wanted to give a nice shout out to one of our kindergarten art teachers at Whitney Young, Erin Patton McFerrin. So she is not only a art teacher to our wonderful students at Whitney Young, but she actually has an art show that is being displayed at ArtLink until the first part of June. And so it was just an incredible show, and I was just so proud. And it's just so great that our staff members are not only inspiring our students, but they're also making an impact in our community, and they're real artists. So it was just really great, and really proud of her. So that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. Raleigh?
So last week I had the opportunity to attend our closing meeting for our audit, and was really excited to find that there were no findings when the audit was completed, which is a testament to our team that we have led by Kathy, the systems that we have in place to be good stewards of the financial resources that we're granted. So I think that our community should be pretty pleased.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly was.
Thank you. I don't mean to interrupt, but Kathy, this isn't the first time that we've had 0 findings on our audit, correct?
Correct.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good
Yeah.
job, Kathy.
I just want to do a shout out to Joe and Jamie and, was it Julie? I'm sorry, I forget. I know Jamie, so I know doing a curriculum adoption is probably a huge task. And I'm proud of us as a board, as we're tooting our horn, Maria, but empowering the staff to empower them to open this up to the community. I mean, this was a completely transparent situation. There's been a lot of stuff in the media about books in particular, and so I'm really proud that we've been quite open door about this. So unfortunately, not many people attended. I know Julie and I went to one, and there was only 3 other parents, but every opportunity and every single thing was there, and the staff was great at showing us things. The 2 vendors that were there were real open and receptive about questions and demonstrating the different things that we're offering. So when anybody comes, or if they come, we can sit there and say, May 9th, we had a meeting and talked about it, and we can show those dates that, hey, you could have been there and listened to all about it. So thank you, Joe and Dr. Daniel, for leading that effort. That's all.
Thank you.
So I will just say that, as you've just seen with 68 different languages being spoken, and an addition of who knows, as our community opens up and embraces and becomes much more inclusive, we truly are a district that prepares students for the world. And I think some of you have just been at universities for graduations, and I think our students are very fortunate to have the experiences they have on a daily basis in our classrooms, in our cafeterias, and our co-curricular events, and so on and so forth, to be provided the opportunity to work and live and actually embrace others that are not like them. This is a world education. And again, you see the results and you see the challenges we have. We're very fortunate to have the professionals every day that are working with each and every one of our kids. So I just want to say that Fort Wayne Community Schools, a world-class education. So thank you.
Thank you. I attended the Network for Public Education conference. It's about every 1.5 years, although this one was delayed quite a bit. I think this was the 4th rescheduling because of COVID. But a lot of great keynote speakers and breakout sessions. But I just wanted to highlight one of the keynote speakers. His name is Little Steven, or he's Stevie Van Zandt. That absolutely meant nothing to me, but I did take a picture and send it to my husband because they said he was on The Sopranos, and my husband knew him immediately. And so he was one of the cartel people on The Sopranos, according to my husband.
He's also a musician.
And he's also a musician, and he was in Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band.
Yeah.
I guess they had a little something. Something happened and that ended, but he's still a musician himself. But anyway, he's passionate about music, obviously, and he's passionate about public education. And he has, I don't know if he did it himself, maybe funded this curriculum, but a arts curriculum for a free arts curriculum for teachers to use. And I took a few notes of some of his comments that he said during his presentation. It was more of an interview with him and Diane Ravitch, but he said the connective tissue with what talents kids come with and what they need to know are the arts. There are no wrong answers in the arts. And he said that if you see a student, and you know how they have their phones with their music and their ear things, buds in or whatever, he said don't tell them to take out their earbuds, but say, who are you listening to? And relate that musician to what they know or what they need to know, like where that musician's from, what they're involved in, and that type of thing, because obviously kids love music. And to use that as part of getting to know your student, getting to them interested in the curriculum via music, will only help our students. The website that offers over 3,000 free lessons plans to teachers is called teachrock.org, and I just thought I'd hop on there to make sure I had the right address. And if you're my age or older, you're going to love it because, wow, this is music I know, because I'm expecting, kid music, teenager music. And one of the titles of one of the lessons plan was called Long Strange Trip. So they had the Grateful Dead and other music from the 70s. So if you're my age and older, you will want to use that. So the kids will learn about the real music out there. So anyway, I also wanted to just thank Mrs. Plum for taking me on a tour of Weiser. I've never been to Weiser Park, and it was their STEAM Week celebration, so I got to see a lot of hands-on activities. They were making slime. They were using their Sphero balls, racing them in water. So just a great facility. I was very, very impressed. Got to see the dance studio and just really nice, nice visit. So thank you. And that is all I have. So time to adjourn.
The temperature over there is 76, so I move we adjourn and go enjoy the rest of the nice day.
Look at the rest of the week, 81,
Second.
83, 82. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And nobody's opposed, I assume.